In this video, we're going to look at the final section of Activity 3.1.3 Basic Inputs Programming using the VEX v5 testbed and VEX Code v5. In this section, we're going to take a look at the distance sensor. And so what are the different things that it can be used for? It can detect an object. It can measure the distance to an object in millimeters or inches. And it can find an object's velocity in meters per second, as well as classifying it as small, medium, or large in size. So as we scroll down, there's going to be a code that's going to be provided that we're going to build in VEX Code. So from the last video, I went ahead and set up a comment block, and I went ahead and typed in here already that we're going to do part 6, distance in inches, just so that way it looks a little better than what the picture has. But we're going to go ahead and go to looks. We're going to set our pen color to cyan on the brain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print, and now I have to go down to sensing to grab what distance that the distance sensor is going to read in inches on the brain. Now I'm going to go ahead and download and run this program. Here is one thing about the distance sensor. So as I go through and I get a reading, I might hit stop and hit run one more time. I'm going to get a reading on here if I turn my light off. I get a reading in really small text here that says 63. So what that is that's how many inches that I have. Now I am picking up the ceiling in the area that I'm looking for. So that's what the distance sensor is doing, is it's picking up the ceiling and just automatically reading that distance. So now here's the thing that they want us to do, is they say without restarting the code, try to go through and place that distance sensor. So now that it's detected an object, we can't go through. I could put my hand over it and then hit run, and I would get 0 because my hand was really close. But if I hit the run button again, now I get 6. So when I'm up above it a little bit. So 6 inches is about what I have there. So what happens if I want to go through though and have something within a certain range? So what I might want to do is to go through and set up. So I'm going to hit stop, and I'm going to go to the control section, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a block in there that says, well, let's wait until before we start printing the distance on the brain, and I'm going to set an operator in there to say when it is less than, so 63 was kind of the height of my ceiling. So let's say when we're less than 63, wait until we're less than 63, and then let's print, and I'm going to have to bring in the distance, which if I look in the distance sensor section, I can use the same stipulation. So let's go ahead and hit download to run our new program, and I can hit run. Now I won't go through, and I'm gonna have to hit run one more time, and I'm still getting a 0 on there. So let's go ahead and let's change this over to 60 because that might be throwing us off. Let's go ahead and hit download, and then we hit run. So now I'm not getting a reading on my brain. I'm not getting a value being printed. So now if I put my hand up above it, run it over, I get a value of 11. So again, if I hit run, my screen goes blank here. But if I take my hand, I go up above and cross over the line of the laser that comes out of the distance sensor, I got 14 on that one. So this kind of code would go through and help you, especially in your own classroom or anything like that, when you're trying to detect a distance without picking up the ceiling. And that's kind of what this is set up to do for Activity 3.1.3 to get you more familiar with using the distance sensor. So once we're done, I can go ahead and hit stop. We can share our program. It's to save it as a PDF. So part 6. And this will go through and automatically save for part 6, so we don't have to worry about moving on to any other activities or anything. So for right now, this finishes up activity 3.1.3, and hopefully you've enjoyed this and been able to learn a little bit more about your sensors and some of the options in VEX code on how to get some really neat programs to be designed and built from these videos.